Hi, Mick and Sandra here from Mudbrick Herb Cottage. Hopefully going to be a lovely spring day today. We're going to take you around our garden and have a look at what's going on. We will show you some of the things from our winter garden tour and see how they're progressing. And we'll also look at some other new exciting things as well that are happening in the garden. First up, we're going to have a look at the nasturtiums. The nasturtiums grow so well down in this garden. They've been looking this good for years. They reseed themselves every year. They grow well through the cooler months right up to spring. We use the flowers and leaves in salads. They have a nice peppery flavour, and the flowers make a beautiful colourful addition to a salad. And just any sort of salad, but a nice chicken salad in sort of a Thai style is really nice. Just popped in the leaf and roll the leaf up and away you go. You've got a nice green wrap.
And the bees love the flowers as well.
Yeah,
Both the native and the European.
Yeah, so it's a good bee plant as well.
And in the middle of all these nasturtiums, we've got the Chaste Tree.
So not that long ago, this tree was bare. It's a deciduous tree. Chaste trees are really good hormone balancing herb, and it's the berries that are used. Behind us here is the ginkgo. It's all starting to shoot away again now that the weather's warming up. This tree has been here for 30 years, and it really should be metres and metres high.
But the ground here is not real great. Shallow soil onto shale, so it's sort of dwarfed.
But it just keeps
on
growing, but not very much.
Yeah.
Okay, let's head up to the kitchen garden.
Yep.
And we'll have a look at this borage. Remember we showed that in the winter garden tour?
It was about that big.
Yeah, look at it now.
Yep.
It's gotten really huge.
And this is a white flowering version. Normally it's a blue or purpley coloured flower.
Yeah, look at the bees around it. The bees love borage. And actually in England somewhere they have just like a whole big field of borage, especially for the bees to help
the
with
blue
their
one.
honey.
Yeah,
borage. Yeah, with the blue
Wow.
borage, yeah. Head over to the TCM, eh?
Yep, and I remember this Ashitaba in the winter video. It was just coming into flower. Now all the seeds are starting to set. Still be a little while yet. Those top ones are starting to get ready, but we'll collect all that seed soon.
And then the TCM gardens down here.
So what does the TCM stand for?
Traditional Chinese medicine.
Oh, yeah,
so
that's right.
Yeah, we've got all of our Chinesey herbs in here. We don't have heaps of them, but we've got a few.
And we'll add some more.
Yeah, but I really wanted to come down here just to have a look at some of those Chinese herbs that die back in winter. So we've got the Chinese licorice, which is Glycyrrhiza urulensis.
Which is very similar to the glabra.
Yeah, very similar to the glabra. So it's all coming away. The Baikal Skullcap is coming away, Scutellaria baicalensis.
And I think we've already taken cuts off that by the look
Yeah,
of it.
we have taken some cuts off last week.
Yeah.
But it's really good for, it's the root that's used, and it's really good for allergies and inflammation. Has the most beautiful purple flowers that look a bit velvety.
Yeah, they even sell them as ornamentals at times.
Yeah, so it is a really attractive plant. And then we see the sweet Annie, which we looked at last time, the Chinese wormwood, Artemisia annua. Those are the younger plants. We've taken out the old one that was high and had seeds on it, but it's self-seeded all in the garden here, which is really nice.
Lots of little ones coming up, yeah.
Lots of little ones coming up. And then the red-rooted sage. So this is a salvia, and it has a very beautiful flower on it, but it's another one that dies back in winter and it comes away in spring. And it's called red-rooted sage because the root's got a red colour to it. And it's a really good herb for circulation, moving blood around the body. So if you're a bit stagnant in that area, it's really good for that. It helps to remove heat as well, so it's a cooling herb. But very pretty.
And the reason we put them in the pots in this garden was because at other times we've planted them in, the weeds have got taken over and we've lost them. So we thought we'll put them in the pots this time just so we don't.
We know where they are. We've got labels in them. I've written on these pots so that when they die back, you know where they were.
Although I probably will plant some in the ground as well, I think.
Yeah, yeah. How's this Heliotrope Cherry Pie? I can just smell that coming up. Oh, it's beautiful. Such a sweet vanilla smell. Gorgeous. It's not a Chinese medicinal herb though. Look at the giant red mustard now. Wow. So it's all come up into flower, and we love to leave the flowers just so that the bees have got something to munch on. But remember back in winter, they were just quite low and really glossy and lovely colour. So I'll probably try and plant a couple more of these because we'll get another short season out of them before it gets too hot.
Yeah, as well.
Sometimes they go right through.
Yeah, well, these ones actually came up from plants that were there last year, which reseeded. So
Yeah,
they just do keep reseeding as well.
Yeah.
And it did go right through the summer almost.
it did, yeah.
Yeah.
Look at these too while we're here, the Californian poppies, and look at all the native bees in there.
Yeah, yeah. They're always full of it.
Yeah, native bees love the oranges of Calendula and the Nasturtiums and the Californian poppies. So pretty. They make an oil out of this for balding men.
I thought it was hyperactivity in children.
It is the leaves and stuff, but I love how they make an oil to rub on men's bald heads. You can use that one day, Mick. So many things looking good in the garden at the moment. Look at this salad burnet.
So lush.
So lush. They love spring, don't they?
Yep.
Speaking of loving spring, Perilla Britton. So it's all coming back from seed now. We had a couple of plants here last year and now we've got hundreds of plants.
So we just pull out all the ones we don't want and leave a few there going?
Yeah. I think we just leave maybe
those
that
two.
one and this one here.
Yep.
And just pull the rest out.
Yep. We need room for other things.
Yeah.
And here?
Actually, we need some basil planted
Oh,
in
we
there
do.
somewhere.
Probably plant a few of them
Yeah.
in there. And this one? Pyrethrum?
Pyrethrum, yeah.
Pyrethrum daisy that they make the spray out of?
So you can plant pyrethrum daisies in your garden, but they don't really work as an insecticide just sitting there like that. They look pretty and the bees still like the flowers, but you need to make an actual spray out of them.
Out of the flowers.
Yeah, and you can dry the flowers and mix them with water, and I think you might have to have a bit of alcohol or something with them. Remember when we were in Tasmania and we saw those whole big fields
full of them.
Full of pyrethrums, and they were making it for the natural pyrethrum spray. So it's a good spray to make for an organic grower.
Yep, and it's nice in the garden when it flowers.
I just want to show everyone the Jekka's Thyme because it's in flower at the moment, looking really nice.
And I don't think people know a lot about Jekka's Thyme.
No, Jekka's Thyme is actually named after a lady who grows herbs in the UK called Jekka McVicker. And we got this, probably about 8 years ago or something, didn't we?
Even more, 10 years ago.
And we actually went to the UK back in 2019.
Yep.
And we got to meet Jekka and told her that we had one of her Jekka's Thymes, and she said, "How did you get that?" And I said, "I don't know, someone must have nicked some off you and brought it to Australia." So anyway, it's a great thyme. It's a better grower than the common garden thyme. The common garden thyme can get a bit woody, whereas as you can see, Jekka's sort of stays nice and green and flows down.
Nice flowers.
Nice flowers.
Similar flavour to common thyme.
Yeah, similar flavour, so you can use it wherever you'd use your normal common thyme, which would be I love thyme in mushrooms, really love thyme in mushrooms. It's nice in salad dressings to add a nice herby flavour. Chicken, we make a really nice chicken dish with thyme in it and lemon wedges when our lemons are all on the tree. And it's also nice just sprinkled over veggies or in herb butter. Great herb thyme, very flavoursome.
Really looking forward to going to her nursery, weren't we, when we were in England?
Yeah.
And, because she's quite well known there, but it was absolutely pouring. But she still took us through the whole place. It was good.
Yeah, it was good. So when you use your thyme, you can just pick a piece, and I just sort of run my fingers down it. Well, usually the top breaks off. And so if that top part's broken off like it just did, that means the stem's soft enough just to use in your dish anyway. But you'll see the rest of it that pulled off the stem. The stem's a bit harder down the bottom, but then you've got all the soft bits to use in your cooking. So it's not too difficult to use.
Wild rocket's looking good too.
Oh yeah, look at the wild rocket. During winter, it knocks back quite a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But now that this warmer weather's coming along, it's really coming back into its own. Yeah.
And it flowers, but it doesn't go to seed and die like the normal salad rocket.
Yeah, it's always there. So it's a good plant to have in the garden. This one over here, the Mallow, it's going to look fantastic soon. It's got beautiful flowers on it with darker veins in the petals, but it's a lovely cottage garden plant.
Yeah.
But it's also used medicinally, superseded by like marshmallow, Althea officinalis, because it has the mucilage and the properties are stronger in it, but it's still a great plant to have in the garden.
So that's Malva sylvestris.
Malva sylvestris, yeah. Behind us here is the coriander, all going to seed, which is fine.
Yep.
All in flower, yeah. So the bees love it. We like to let it just go.
And other beneficial insects as well, don't they? Yeah.
Yeah, go to flower and then seed, because it'll just fall to the ground and come up again. We might get another crop
before it gets
too hot,
Yep.
or it might just sit in the soil till around March.
And
March,
then
usually they all come up everywhere, don't they?
Yeah.
Coriander is a short-lived annual, so it's only about 3 months from when you plant it to when it goes to seed. But a lot of countries actually prefer using the seed than the leaf anyway.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing, that's what it does. So you just need to plant a few different plantings if you don't have it in your garden already. But we just have, it just sort of comes up over the season by itself.
Yep. There's others over there that came up from last year that reseeded.
So when it gets really hot and the coriander just won't grow here anymore through those few hot months, you know, December, January, February, the perennial coriander is a really good one to use. Which is all
so-called sawtooth coriander or Thai coriander. It actually originates in Mexico though.
Yeah, it originates from Mexico, but I did see it growing everywhere, and they use it a lot in Vietnam as well. We've got some down in the pot down there. We should just go and have a look and see how it's going. So as you can see, the leaves are sort of tougher. They're long and they've got these sharp bits on the edge, hence sawtooth coriander. So this one needs to be chopped up more finely when you use it, because it's a little bit tough, but it is also quite good using the leaf in cooking. It'll withstand the heat of cooking, whereas the normal coriander doesn't.
Lose its flavour a bit.
Yeah. These seed heads which come up, I usually let one of those go so you can collect the seed from those little bits in the centre there. Their seeds form in there. When they go brown, you can just pull them off and sprinkle them around in the garden and they'll come up again. But if you get a whole heap of these, this part's edible as well. You can just cut those off and stick them in a food processor, blend them up with a bit of chilli, garlic, ginger and a bit of sesame oil. Yum.
Yep, it's good.
Yum, yum,
Nice
yum.
bit.
Hey Mick,
Yep.
can you go get the eggs? I might make a nice herby frittata for lunch.
Yep, no worries. Chookies. Got any for me there? Oh, another one. Oh, he's playing up for the camera. Look at him.
So as we come down here, there's two things that are standing out for me, apart from the rose, is the elder and the fruity sage.
Yep.
Looking really nice at the moment.
Elderflowers are lush.
The elderflowers are really lush. The heads are nice and big, so hopefully we'll get some good berries off it this time around. It flowers and fruits about 2 to 3 times a year, but you usually get one really good fruiting a year. The flowers are lovely in, you can dry them and you keep them for tea for colds and flus, or they're really nice for face washes and stuff like that as well. Fritters can be made out of the flower heads as well, just by dipping them into a nice light batter and then frying them, and just a little bit of icing sugar over the top. Yum, yum, yum.
And we have made elderflower cordial and elderflower champagne out of
the elderflower champagne was nice, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And the cordial as well. It's good if you've got some lemons on at the same time though, because you use lemons with the elderflowers as well.
Yep.
And then of course the berries follow, and we know how good they are for the syrup for colds and flus in winter.
Yep.
So it's such a useful tree. The leaves can also be used as an insecticide, but they do use the leaves medicinally as well, but you do need to be a little bit careful. Some people can be sensitive to them. This variety is Sambucus canadensis. It grows well up here, but it is quite weedy, so you need to be careful where you put it.
Everywhere.
Suckers up, yeah. The legend goes is that the witch lives in the elderberry tree, and you have to ask her permission when you take any part of the plant.
Yep.
Or you'll be in big trouble. But that's why we planted it there, because I'd read a lot about it, and it was sort of like, this is the tree that should go in the middle of your herb garden. So hence I planted it there. We hack it down every year, and I shouldn't say it like that, but we cut it down every year. and then it comes back again really nicely. Lets a bit more light onto the nursery because it gets a bit big, doesn't it?
Yep.
And the fruity sage,
Yep.
yum yum.
Look at that.
It has a beautiful fruity scent. Really nice, and the pink flowers are also quite tasty, so I'm surprised Mick hasn't nibbled on some of these yet.
Not today, no.
But there's nectar in the end of them and it's really sweet. So they go nice in fruit salads, and I love putting the fruity sage into our waters on our open weekends. So
Our drinking water.
yeah, the drinking water. So we do a big jug of herb water with different herbs in it, and fruity sage always finds itself in there. You can use the fruity sage like in stuffings and stuff as well, like a normal sage. But I like the normal sage better for that sort of thing.
Yep.
This one's good for drinks and fruit salads and desserts. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, just want to go and have a look and see how much the calendulas have changed since winter. But before we go over there, we'll just have a look at this rose-scented geranium because it looks really nice at the moment.
Sure does. Full of flowers.
Full of flowers. And the leaves have a beautiful rose scent. Just pull one off. These can be added to just like normal tea to make a really nice fragrant tea, or once again in the herb water. So heaps of leaves in the herb water with other herbs, beautiful. I've also made biscuits and cakes where I've popped a leaf down and then put the bicky mixture on it and baked them in the oven. And then when you pull them out, you've got this beautiful rose geranium shape on the bottom of your bicky, as well as the fragrance from the leaves as well. And the cake tin, you can line the cake tins with them and put your mixture in, bake the cake, and you just get a really nice scent of the rose geranium.
Well with the peppermint geranium as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, the peppermint geranium is really nice for chocolate cakes. Yeah. So Shannon's in here cutting some of the flowers still, so they've really grown a lot since winter, and we've had quite a lot of picks of calendula flowers since then.
We sort of thought they'd be just about finished now, but the weather's been a bit cooler this year, hasn't it? And they seem to have hung on a bit longer.
And I think we'll get quite a few more picks out of this lot yet.
Yep.
I've noticed those little caterpillars are starting to appear on the flowers.
Oh, right.
That just shows a sign that maybe it's getting close to the end, but we'll get a few more picks out of them yet. They look good. So just going to have a look at these plantain tucked in behind the calendula here.
They look so lush, aren't
they? They're just so lush. Most of them are growing along this sort of drainway here because they love that moisture, but look at this one here. This is the mama one here.
Yeah, and they are weedy.
They're very weedy. They're known as white man's footprint because everywhere the white man's been, the plantain follows. This herb has been one of the plants that we've used so much when our kids were little. We used to make what's called a spit poultice, and sometimes they'd do it themselves. So you just get the leaf, chew it up, and spit it out, and pop it on.
Stings or bites?
Yeah, stings or bites, insect bites, spider bites. Also really good for drawing, so it was also good if they got splinters and things and we couldn't quite get them out. You put the poultice on, put a band-aid around it, and it will help to draw out the pus and with it the splinter. Great for hemorrhoids, so made into an ointment. You can use it for hemorrhoids, but a fantastic plant. I remember a guy came to our nursery years and years ago when we'd first started, and we had some plantain just growing in the gutter up near the nursery, and he said, that is the only plant that will stop the white-tailed spider from infecting your body, and just make a poultice out of it and put it on, and it works really well.
Because he'd used it.
He'd used it.
Yeah.
Well, I was gardening barefoot one day in the garden, and I got stung by something. I didn't see what it was, but I just assumed it was probably a spider. Made a poultice of plantain and put it on my foot overnight. My foot was throbbing, red, swollen to about twice its size, and in the morning it had come down almost completely and the throbbing had gone, and it was only like a day or two after that it was really good. So I'm not sure what it was, but it worked really well. Fantastic herb. Good healing. Has a lantoin in it like comfrey, so it's got that good healing properties for wounds and stuff as well. I just want to show you what I'm doing with some of my calendula seed, because I tend to miss it otherwise, is I've got these ones here that have the beautiful dark centres, and I wanted to make sure that I got some seed of that separately. So I just got these little bags, the little silk bags that you can get, and just covered some of the seed heads. Oh look, these look like they're just about ready now, so I can pull them out. And it's just a really good way of saving a particular seed. So hopefully I'll have more of those dark scented calendulas next year. So we'll have a look at this St.Mary's thistle or milk thistle. Such a stunning plant, but so prickly, dangerous. They get these beautiful flowers followed by the seeds. The seeds are the part that are used medicinally.
Yep.
Really good liver herb. So if you like a tipple, you should be taking some St. Mary's thistle or milk thistle. Silly bum, don't you love the name? Silly bum Marianum.
And the bees do like it as well.
The bees like it. I'm just going to open this top up. It's very prickly, so hard to get to.
Not quite ready yet.
No, it might be a bit young yet. But that's where the seeds are, down in the head there.
Needs to dry a little bit more.
Needs to dry a bit more. The leaves can also be used, but you need to trim off those spikes, so it's a little bit of a hassle. But if you were starving hungry and didn't have anything else, I'd be eating it. We don't sell this one, do we?
Not as a plant.
No.
Because it is a bit of a weed.
It's a bit of a weed, yeah. We'll just go down and have a look at the comfrey. But on the way, there's the other plantain that I'd just like to show you. So this is sometimes called ribwort or just plantain. But the reason it's called ribwort is because of the ribs down the leaves, also known as narrow leaf plantain. So this one's Plantago lanceolata, whereas the other one was Plantago major, having the big leaves. This one's probably more useful for the respiratory system, although both varieties can be used. You see this one growing everywhere. I've seen it in parks down on the coast and around the place. Doesn't normally look as lush as that. No, because it's growing in paths or out of,
It gets mown. And...
Yeah, out of, the parks and stuff, so it's not as big as this. So we'll just have a look at the comfrey, but just have a look at this foxglove here. So quite often, if I'm doing talks through this part of the garden, and I say, does anyone know what this is? They'll say, oh, is that comfrey? Well, it's not comfrey, it's foxglove. And it would be very dangerous to get them confused, because foxglove is digitalis purpurea, and it's quite toxic. So it's what they make heart medication out of, but to eat this can actually kill you. So it's good to know what you're looking at in the garden, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it has a beautiful flower. The flower on foxglove is just gorgeous. That's why we love to plant it down in here. Anyway, back to the comfrey, eh?
Yep.
So this comfrey is Symphytum officinalis. The one that we commonly sell, that we make our creams out of, we only sell, is Symphytum cross Uplandicum. So it's Russian comfrey. So the way you can tell the difference is it's really good when they're in flower, to have a look at them when they're in flower. The officinalis has these wings that go up the side of the stems, whereas the Russian one doesn't. Well, sometimes it looks like they have it, but it's not. When you see them together, you'll really notice the difference. So the leaves actually are attached all the way along the stem and then form the leaf. This one's quite weedy though. That's why we don't sell this one. Hey, Mick?
Yeah.
Okay, that's it for our spring garden tour. Could have shown you so much more. There's so much happening in the garden in spring. It's a beautiful time of year. But I hope you enjoyed that, and let me know if you've got any questions, and we'll see you next time.